So yes, students, initially we had already studied that what is monocot and dicot seed. Today, what I was going to tell to all of you is that the monocot seed, because initially we had already studied that in dicot seed there was a hilum found, there was a pimule, there was a radicle, there was a seed coat, there is a testa, there is a tegument. Now all of you see the diagram which is given on page number 49. See this diagram of maize. Okay, all of you are able to see this diagram? All of you are able to see this diagram? See, here no any bifurcation is found. Okay, here no any bifurcation is found. That means this seed is a monocot. Okay. So here in monocot, which seeds example is given? Of maize. Okay, this is a seed of a maize. Okay, now see the upper layer. Okay, the outermost layer of maize seed, which is rich in protein. Okay, this is rich in protein, and this layer is known as aileron layer. Okay, see this is aileron layer, which is found at the upper margin of the seed. See figure 6.2. All of you see, students, figure 6.2, longitudinal section, that is a aileron layer. Okay, below that endosperm is found. Okay, below that endosperm is found. Who is shouting? Just mute his. Okay, below that endosperm is found. Okay, see endosperm, you also know that endosperm contain the fleshy or food part of the seed. Okay, then epithelium is now bifurcating, that is dividing the one layer to the other layer, not two parts, only the layer of the seed. Okay, one layer which is rich in food and one layer which is the germinative part. Now what is the germinative part of the seed known as? The germinative part of seed known as embryo. There we had seen pimule and radicals. Here also we will see pimule and radical, but there we had seen that pimule and radical was coming from the between of two cotyledons, right? In between of the two cotyledons, but here you will see that from a single cotyledon inside the embryo section, pimule and radical will be comes out. So pimule will be covered by the layer which is known as coleoptile. See the diagram, the pimule is covered by the coleoptile. Okay, and the radical is covered by which part? Coleorhiza. Okay, see this is radical, it is covered by coleorhiza, coleoptile is covered with what? Sorry, pimule is covered with coleoptile. Okay, and this all is the part of embryo. Embryo is that part of seed, students, that shows the germination. Now you get it or not? Tell me, all of you. So okay, now listen to me. Now I am going to explain you both the things combinedly, monocot seed and dicot seed. In dicot seed we had seen two cotyledons. See, this is two cotyledons. Okay, and the pimules and radicals are found here. Or you can see, if this is dicot seed and if you are opening, the pimule and radical will be found here. Okay, now listen. In monocot seed, see this is a monocot seed, the one by one part of the seed, half part of the seed is divided into the fleshy or food part of the seed, and one part of the seed will be known as embryo. Okay, in that embryo section there was a coleoptile which was protecting the pimule, or which was found at the upper side of the pimule, and coleorhiza at beside the radicals. Okay, now all of you clear? In dicot seed there are two cotyledons. In monocot seed there was only one cotyledon. In dicot the major example is of bean seed, and in monocot the major example is of maize seed. Okay, now see the difference between which is given on page number 49. See, in bean seed it is given there is two cotyledon. All of you see this difference between which is given on page number 49. In bean seed, two cotyledons. In maize seed, only one cotyledon. Now, no endosperm in bean seed. bean seed there was no endosperm, only the food was there, and in maize seed there was a large endosperm. Okay, now in bean seed large embryo, okay, and in maize seed there is a small embryo at the side of the seed. Now plumule leaves folded. In bean seed plumule leaves are folded in nature. In maize seed the plumule leaves are rolled in nature. Why they are rolled in nature? Because they are covered by the coleoptile. Okay, now plumule leaves folded, it is rolled. Okay, now plumule is large in the case of bean. Now what is plumule? I had already told to all of you that plumule is the future shoot, okay, and radicle is the future root. Here in maize seed you can see plumule very small. Okay, now hilum and micropyle are visible in bean seed. ठीक है, in bean seed hilum and micropyle is visible, but in maize hilum and micropyle is not visible. Here I had not tell you na that this is hilum, that is micropyle, the opening or the pore. No na. Now see, in bean seed separately contained in the fruit called pod. Okay, now the seed wall and fruit wall fuse to form a single grain with no separate sheath, means seed. Now you can see in seed you are seeing that the seed are found, the fruit cover is different and the seed cover is different, but in the monocot what you are seeing, the seed cover is not different, they are just fused with the fruit cover. Okay, now the next topic is germination. Now this is, all of you understand it very carefully. All of you know that what is germination. Okay, means when you put water or sand, or you just put the seed inside the sand and apply some water to that seed, okay, the seed starts germinating, means a small plant is now coming from that seed. This process is known as germination. All of you understood? When you give water and sand to the seed and seed start coming out from, and a new plant is coming out from that seed, that is known as germination. All of you know this now, that when a new plant, a small tiny plant starts coming from the seed is known as germination. There is one word which is known as dormant. So the condition just before the germination is known as dormancy. Okay, which means if the seed starts germinating, that means it has braked its dormancy. Now if you are not getting it, I just explain you this Hindi also, that जब एक सीड जर्मिनेट करना स्टार्ट करती है, मीन्स उसके अंदर से प्लांट निकलना स्टार्ट होते हैं, उसके पहले उसकी जो स्टेट रहती है उसको डोर्मेंट स्टेट कहते हैं. मीन्स अगर सीड स्टार्ट करी है जर्मिनेशन तो उसका मतलब क्या है कि वो अपनी डोरमेंसी को ब्रेक कर रही है. ओके, सो बिफोर जर्मिनेशन द सीड विल बी नोन एज द डोरमेंट seed. Okay, and when it will start germinating it will be known as germinating seed. Okay, so basically the dormancy is also known as the rest period, okay, for the seed, because till then the seed is not germinating. One question will also may ask to you that what are the conditions required for the breaking of dormancy. Now any one of you who is able to answer this question, that what are the conditions which is required for the breaking of the seed dormancy? Who will answer this? Very good beta, very good. All of you are so talented. Yes, water, sand, temperature, all of these things are required for breaking the seed dormancy, because when the seed breaks its dormancy, it will start germinating. Okay. Now, formation of a seedling develops into form of embryo. Embryo is what? Embryo is just a tiny little part of a plant, okay, a tiny part, not you can say part, a tiny plant, okay, that is embryo, means plumule and radicals combinedly known as embryo. Okay, so you can also say that in germination the embryo is now developing. Okay, now conditions necessary for germination. See, it is your topic also, at what are the conditions which is required for the germination. First is water, until or unless you will not provide seed water, their cell wall will not get rupture, and when the cell wall get not rupture, or if the seed coat will not get rupture, the seed will not germinate. Okay. The second is suitable temperature. Suitable temperature is also required, because sometimes you see now that this crop should be only grown on this temperature, because that is the suitable temperature of the crop. That means if you will grow that crop in the other temperature, it will not show its germination. Why is it so? Why this happens? Because in that condition the embryo will not allow itself to develop. For us also, now you say that if we will go at minus 40 or 45 degree or 60 degree, we will not be able to survive, because that is not suitable temperature for us. If we will live at 70 degrees Celsius, 80 degrees Celsius, then also it will not be able to survive, because that is not a suitable temperature for us. And what? Optimum temperature. One is the optimum temperature. Now what is optimum temperature? Optimum temperature is that temperature which is the best suitable for that seed. Okay. If I will talk about us, what will be the suitable temperature for us? What will be the suitable temperature for us? What is the normal room temperature? No beta, I am not talking about the AC temperature. I am just talking the normal room temperature, which is optimum for us, is 27 to 28 degrees Celsius. Okay. 17 degree, 16 degree we see in the winter season, right? But if we, you know na, the word average means. Okay. So the average or the optimum temperature for us, that's why in book also we write the room temperature as, what you write room temperature? 28 degrees Celsius, na? So that will be the optimum temperature. Now the third thing which is necessary for the germination of seeds, that is oxygen. Okay, during germination there is a rapid cell division, and cell division requires cell growth, which needs energy, and for energy what we required? Oxygen, because in the presence of oxygen our food particles get converted into form of energy. Okay, that's why the oxygen is required. Okay, now some experiment of germination is given. See, in the experiment which is showing the figure 6.3, there is 2 beaker is taken. Okay, now see, there is one beaker where wet cotton is putted in the beaker, you can say that, and in one beaker there is a wet cotton, but one solution is put there, that is alkaline pyrogallic acid, and that solution is just absorbing the water, oxygen. And when the oxygen will be absorbed, what will happen? There will be no oxygen present inside the vessel, and that's why the seed is not showing the germination. This diagram is to demonstrate that not only water, not only light, but oxygen is also necessary for the germination. Okay, in the first diagram only plain water is given, so only plain water is also kept in the test tube also, so plain water will not absorb the oxygen. Okay, so the seed will get oxygen and it will start germinating. Now some of you will ask, ma'am, the tap, or you can say that the opening of the vessels are closed, then how the oxygen will supply? So the oxygen will be the left oxygen which is already present inside the vessel. They will only acquire that oxygen for the germination. But in the other diagram, in B diagram, all the oxygen which was present inside the vessel was absorbed by the solution, alkaline pyrogallic acid. Okay. Now see the figure 6.4, this diagram. Now all of you see this diagram. Wait. See, all of you see this diagram. Here you can see this seed is here, this seed is here, and this seed is here. Okay. This seed is not showing germination because it is getting sunlight, temperature, oxygen, everything, but not water. This is getting water, sunlight, oxygen is very less quantity. That's why it is not showing well developed germination. But here it is getting water also, proper amount of moisture also, oxygen also, suitable temperature also. That's why it is showing very good germination in comparison to the other seeds. Now you get why everything is important for the germination, because if you supply everything in a proper quantity, or if everything will be given to the seed, like what are the things? Oxygen, temperature, suitable temperature, water, okay, then only the seed will start germination. Now someone will ask, ma'am, why you haven't tell us that sand is also important? So beta, sand is only important for the grip of the plant, which means plant only needs sand for the gripping, means on that they can stand straight, okay, not for the germination. For germination only these things are important. And one thing more, through sand only you can provide plants minerals. Had you seen that you just inject minerals inside the plants? No, na? So from root they absorb the mineral with the help of water, okay, from water, from the root, inside the root which you had given the water inside the sand, and from there the water and minerals, all the things are being absorbed by the root. Now understood all of you? Now see, there is two types of germination as given in your book, okay, two types of germination is given. One is hypogeal and second one is epigeal, okay. In hypogeal you can see when the plant starts growing, when the plant starts germinating, what will happen? The cotyledons will be remain inside, as you can see in figure 6.5. See, the cotyledons are remaining inside the sand. But in the epigeal germination, what you are seeing, that the cotyledons are coming outside from the sand, okay. So when the cotyledons are coming, means epi, and when it is being embedded in the sand, that is hypo. Epi, hypo, epi, hypo. Epi means upar, hypo means niche. Epi means upar, hypo means niche. When the cotyledons also comes out with the plant, that is epigeal. When the cotyledons being embedded inside the plant, that is what? Hypogeal, okay. Now there is one more diagram of epigeal and hypogeal is given, and that is on page number 52. This diagram, here also you can see the monocot seed is here. So monocot seed will be remain inside when the plant start germinating. See, this is seed, okay, and it is remaining inside when the plant start germinating. So you, from here you can also say that monocot seed performs which type of germination? Tell all of you, which type of germination the monocot seed performs? Very good, very good. In hypogeal germination, you see monocot seeds, they are being embedded inside the sand and the plant comes out, okay. But in epigeal, means in dicot seed, what you are able to see, that the cotyledons are also coming out from the sand with the help of plant, okay, when the plant is germinating. Now tell me, is it clear or not? Okay. Now there is one germination, that is viviparous germination. That is only to learn, students, that what is viviparous germination. See, germination inside the fruit while it is still attached to the parent plant, means when the germination takes place inside the fruit, means fruit is attached to the plant, means you had not detached the fruit, not detach the seed also, and new plants coming inside from the fruit, that is known as viviparous germination, okay. This type of germination you can see in the plant Rhizophora, okay. In which plant? Rhizophora. All of you please learn this. Rhizophora is that plant in which you are able to see the viviparous germination. Viviparous germination is that germination in which you are able to see that a plant is germinating from a fruit when a fruit is attached to the plant. Okay. Now the seedling. What is seedling? This is a seed, okay, here it is a seed, you provide some water, only a tiny thing, you are able to see something is coming out from the seed. Now this seed is known as seedling, okay. When you see some farmers cropping the crops of wheat and rice, they don't provide the sand, the seed, they provide seedlings, okay. Means for seedlings, what you need? A tiny seed which is having a little plant, okay. That structure is known as seedling. When you crop wheat or rice, you don't need seed of wheat and rice, you need seedling of seed and rice, okay. Understood, beta? Which seedling? See, seedling is what? See, it is written germination is in any plant ends with the formation of seedling. Means this is seed and the seed now starts germinating. Okay, the seed is now start germinating and now this germinating structure of seed is known as seedling. Means this is, wait a second. All of you see here. This is a seed, okay. Now the seed is start germinating a plant. This process is known as germination and this whole structure will be known as seedling. Now understood? So in some plants you don't need only seed to grow. When you grow seed it will not grow, but when you make the seed into seedling and when you put that seedling into sand, only then the plant will be able to grow. Maximum this type of things happen to the monocot seeds, okay. Okay, now all of you please read and learn this chapter, also complete the question answer of this chapter. And now today the portion of first term examination of all of you has been completed, okay. So now revise all the chapters, learn all the chapters, and if you are having any doubt you may ask to me. And now we had completed our first term portion, okay. Process of fertilization in plants. Beta, there is nothing. You know now what is the process of pollination? Transfer of pollen grain from the male part of the plant or flower to the female part of the flower. Okay, wait a second. Here the pollen grains are found and they are transferring to here. Okay, this is pollination. Okay, now the male pollen grain, which is a male gamete, go inside the female body, which is ovary, and inside the ovary ovule is present. Now this is ovule, beta, okay, this is ovule and I am drawing ovule here, okay, only single ovule. There is one central cell is present which is containing 2 nuclei, okay, and then one egg cell is present with the antipodal cells, okay. Now when the male nuclei will come, it will contain, when the male gamete will come, it will contain 2 nuclei. One nuclei fuses with the central cell and one nuclei fuses with the egg cell, okay. One nuclei fuses with the central cell and one nuclei fuses with the egg cell. So this type of fertilization is known as triple fusion and double fertilization. Why triple fusion and double fertilization? Because see, this is ovule, central cell is containing two nuclei, okay, one nuclei is coming of male cell and just fuses with this, so there is two nuclei, so two fusions here, one with egg cells, so one fusion is here, total fusion 3, and fertilized structure will be one fertilized structure and the other fertilized structure, two fertilized structures, that's why the fertilization is 2. Now all of you clear or not? Okay beta, so just I am leaving the class. Okay, now if you are having any doubt, you may ask to me. Okay, thank you students for joining the class, and all of you please learn all the chapters. Okay, today we had finished our 6th chapter. Thank you beta.